Alright, so welcome back. In this section, we're going to talk about the Fusion tab. So without any further introductions, let's jump right into it and let's start learning about the Fusion tab. So before we do that, I need to import some media in order to be able to work with that media in the Fusion tab. So I will add some media. I'm not looking forward to adding some specific media. I just want some footage I can use. So, for example, I could use this video. I will change its frame rate, the timeline's frame rate. And now, let's go inside the Fusion tab. So this is the media I have imported, and now I will go here into the Fusion tab and let's start working. So the first two blocks, the first two cells you're going to see are media in and media out. Alright, so media in is basically the footage. So this is the video unedited. After that, you make some changes to it, and after those changes, you get media out. And we have no changes, and that's why the video looks just like it looked at the beginning, into media out. But we will change that. Now, what I wanted to tell you is that, let's say, for example, you could preview multiple screens here. So let's start with this preview area. In order to have two screens, you can go to some cell inside your Fusion tab where your nodes are, and you see here is this tool with two circles in it. If you click on this, you will show here on the right screen, on the right view, media in, and if I go here and choose left view, here I will have media out. And as you can see, you can have multiple screens here into this Fusion tab. So I can change it. I can make media in to be on this screen and media out to be on this screen. So depending on what point you choose, the video, the cell will appear there. So keep that in mind. Now that's it with the screens. That's the main thing with the screens. Wait a second. Alright. Now what you do here in the middle is you change your footage. You basically have a piece of footage and you change it. You transform it. And there are a few kinds of cells you can use inside this Fusion tab. One of the type of cells is a piece of footage. So, for example, this is media in, but I could also add some other media. Let's add media in. And what I could do is that I could add some more media here. So if I go into the media tab and I add this or this video, and I go back into the Fusion tab, I have some more media. So I have one more clip. Simply add it this way. So in order to add some more media into the Fusion tab, you simply click on the media inside your media pool. You drag it onto here where the nodes are. Alright, let's get back to this and connect this with this, and now we're back with our initial media. So that didn't work. Let's actually try with some other piece of footage. So if I go here once again and I add this, what I could do is I could add a merge. So let me see if it works just really fast, and add it this way. And now yes, it has changed. So yeah, it works, as you can see. And even though my initial video was this one with the mountains, not this one with the mountains and the ships, if I go here, now I will have this video showing up. So basically, I mean, I have gone a little bit too far, because this is not a material you needed to see at the beginning. But anyway, there are some kind of cells you have here, and all of these cells, so all of these cells except paint, even paint might work, but I mean for now all of these cells are a piece of media. Alright, so if you go into the timeline here, it's like adding some text upon the first layer. So basically they are media you add upon layers. The background would be down here, the media in would be on the second layer, the text would be on the third layer, and fast noise would be above everything else, I guess. This is the first kind of cells. This works just like media does. Next you have effects. So if I add this here, this is an effect. So what it does is that it changes your footage. Keep in mind that this is not some piece of media, so basically you don't add color corrector here. What you do is you go into effects maybe, and you add some effects upon this video, but you don't add it here above. So why it's important is that you don't connect this piece of footage to a merge node, connect it to your media. Alright, so let's stop talking and let's start with the easiest kind of you know, effect you can add here in Fusion, so you will understand everything much better. So here are the effects, and let's add this effect here. And now you can change the hue from here, because all of this is effects, and you're making changes to your media and you're not adding anything new onto the timeline. And this way, this is how my video used to look, and this is how it looks now. And now the video will be changed. This is a difference. But what you have to remember is that this kind of cells are like media. They work like media. That's what you have to remember. These ones, they work just like effects. So you add them onto a media and you change the media. So you don't add it as a different piece of media. You will never add an effect this way and then connect it to something. No, what you do with effects, you add it before a media, so after a media. So you call a media and then you add its effect, alright? Also, you have here transformers, so they also work like effects. You add the effect here, and then you can change this video. You can transform it basically. Then you have, I mean, lots of different effects here, which are all interesting. So you've got some cool effects here which you can use. Also, another important tool is the merge one. So I actually have shown you a fast exercise with the merge tool, but with the merge cell. But anyway, so in order to mainly, I mean, you will want to use more tools than you have here, because here are only a few tools you can use. So in order to see all of the tools you have in Davinci for the Fusion tab, you have to click on Shift Space, and now you can type in anything you want. I need the merge tool, so I will add it. And in order to add something on this line, so on this node basically, you press on Shift and then you add it in between. and now it's added in between. Alright, so you have, you can understand now how it works. What merge does, well, think of merge as creating a new layer. So basically, let's say you want to add this video too. So in order to make this video, so let's say you want to add this video above this video, and you want to do it in Fusion. So what you do in the edit tab, is that you create another layer, another track, and you move it above. Well, in Fusion, if you want to add something on an upper track, what you have to do is create a merge node. Whatever goes at the green dot will be above, in the foreground, and whatever goes at the yellow, here at this yellow color, will be in the background. So if I add this piece of media, then I go here and add this media, and I connect it to this merge into the foreground. As you can see, it's in the foreground. And now also, let's say I want to transform it. So in order to transform your media, the transform is an effect, right? I told you that already. And in order to add it, to add an effect to some media, you have to add it just after you call it. So I will add transform just after I call media 2, and here I will transform media 2. I can make it smaller this way maybe, and now the transform is connected to the merge, and now this is what I've got. If I would have changed the way I aligned this, so if I would have simply take media in and go to the green point and transform to the yellow point, I would have seen only this, because this is in the foreground and that small part is in the background. But I will go back to how it was before, and this is what I have. And let's say I want to make this background footage blurry. So this is for blur. So here is the blur, but if I want to call it using the faster method, I can press Shift Space and search for blur, and now I have all of the kinds of blur Davinci offers me. Let's add some box blur, and here I have it. Now, do I want to add the box blur only to what's in the background, only to what's in the foreground, or to the whole video? It all depends on how I position this blur. So if I position this blur here, alright, it's basically gonna blur everything, because I add in media 1, then I add in media 2, which is transformed, and then I blur everything. But if, let's say, I add the blur here, the only blurry image I will have is in the background, because only media 1 is being blurred and the rest of it is not. What I can do is I can actually blur only media 2, and this way only this footage will be blurred, as you can see here. I can also add it in between the transform and merge node, because it's an effect, but what will happen is different. So let me show you what happens and tell me if you see any difference. So now I will add the box blur between media in 2 and transform 1. So what happens is that this image gets blurry. Now tell me what happens when this box blur is at transform 1. As you can see, the box blur actually even gets out of the image a little bit. So basically what I was doing here, well, imagine I have an image, and that image is transformed into a smaller image. So if I blur this image, that will look like a perfect rectangle which is blurred inside. While if I transform this image, well, this image is basically another rectangle which I have blurred afterwards. So It's a difference on, I mean, it's a big difference when you choose where to put your effects. It really matters. So let's add the blur here, or actually let's add it here. Alright, now if in order for me to change the settings of the blur, I can go into the inspector tool. So if you don't have it opened, open it this way, and now you have your inspector tool. Now here I can choose the strength. As you can see, I can make it harder, or however you can say. So I can choose its strength from here. And I have the number of iterations, so I can also change that. Next we have these tools, which are basically like the windows in the color tab. So let's take this square tool, this rectangle tool, and let me tell you what it does. So it basically crops your video, or I mean that's it. I mean, yeah, it crops your video. Now what you have to know is that you cannot add it here. So for example, you cannot add it after your media. What you can do instead is add it before your media. So you can take this output, so the dots, I mean not the dots but the squares, so the square in Fusion the squares are always mean that it's the output. So this is the output. I take the output and I connect it to my media in 1. Now I have this on my screen. I make sure that I can see media in 1, and I can see what my rectangle does. So this is the shape I have cut it. I have, you know, this is the window I have made with my shape. What I can do now is go to the inspector tool, select my rectangle, and I can change its width. After I do that, let's try change its height. And as you can see, what it does is it kind of crops your footage. What happens is that I create this media in a cropped way, so it crops my media in. After that, I add some box blur to that media in, and after that I'm merging it with this other media in which I have transformed. Now let's say I'm not going to add this here. Let's say I want to add this at the effect, so at the box blur effect. What happens is that the effect gets trimmed out. So where this rectangle is, it means that there will be some blur on my image. So I can move this around, and as you can see, wherever this rectangle goes, there is the blur. And if I take it off, the blur will be everywhere. Now let's say I want to do something else. Let's add it to this merge. And this way, as you can see, whatever I'm having merged on the next layer in this Fusion tab will be within the perimeter of this rectangle. So if I take the rectangle out, I have nothing in here. But if I'm going to get it back, I will have it here. So it all matters on how you place your effects, and that's what you'll do with this kind of effect. You can trim out your footage however you want. Now these are mainly the most important kind of cells. Let's make this way. Now also a thing I wanted to tell you is that here you have some other kind of cells which are called 3D. So I mean they're not called 3D, but they're for the 3D section. So if you want to create something in 3D, then you come here let's say you want to add something in 3D. So let's make something really fast. I will simply add some text. So let's add a 3D text, all right? And let's type in hello. Let's display it here. All right. This way. Now I can see my text. Let's add it with this kind of bold. I'm adding some depth to this text, as you can see. Let's add some more. Alright, now I have my text, hello. It says hello. What I want to do is add this merge 3D, and then what I want to do is add this render 3D. And what it will be able to do is that it will simply render my word hello. Now what I want to do is take this and add it here. And if I'm going to preview this, I can see this merge. So I mean, wait a second, let me add another merge here. So merge this way. And if I add this render, if I add this render 3D onto this merge, I should be able to see everything. Wait a second. Let's connect this to this and this to this. And now I have my word. Of course, I can change the layout of this word. I can make it this way, this way. I can rotate it this way, make it smaller, change this alignment, and you got a point. So the Fusion tab is really interesting and really useful, and what you do is not that different from the layers. So if you understand how to work with the Edit tab, what you have to get is that here you're just like working with layers, but instead of layers you add merge and you add other media. So basically you take this piece of footage and you add it an effect, and if you want to add something above it, you'd create a merge node, and then you add some other media which you will transform later, because you don't want to simply block the view of the first media. And then you add something else on top of everything, which is going to be a text. And because it's a 3D text, you have to I don't think I need this merge tool actually. I just need this text to be rendered, right? So it works this way without that. So I need my text in 3D to be rendered, and this way, in order to be able to show it, I add it onto this merge, which is basically a third layer, and it shows it to me onto this line, and then I get it and then everything I make here will get out in media out 1. Now I hope you have understood the concept of working in the Fusion. So you have these nodes, they are different. So the effect nodes simply get this way. You connect them with the media itself. The effect nodes are connected directly to the media. Next, if you have some footage or something that works just like footage, such as background, fast noise, or text, then if you have something like this, even a paint, so if you have something like this, you will need to create another layer. So imagine it as working with layers. So in order to create another layer, you have to use this merge cell. Everything that goes here where is yellow will be in the background. Everything else which goes here at the green will be in the foreground. And if you add even more stuff, this will be the third layer, and you got a point, right? Next, this is an effect, so you have to add it to connect it just right to the, you have to connect it to your media directly, and that's why you don't have to use a merge tool to connect it to the media. You connect effects to media, and you connect media to media by using merge tools. Yeah, it's a tool, so you could also call it merge tool or merge node, however you want. And that's it pretty much. Alright, so in the next video we're going to make a few examples, and this way I'm going to make sure you have understood the concept of working in the Fusion tab. So see you in the next video.